Well, hello and welcome. My name is Velma. You can connect with me at velmanolds.com. This is all about your leadership chat. What does that mean? You get to listen in on valuable insights from valuable leaders just like you. I want to encourage you to go ahead and subscribe so that you never miss another episode. And if this is of value to you, please share the nuggets that you're going to take away from all these great leaders. Hello, and please give a big welcome to my special guest and your valuable leader, Tom Earp. Hey, Tom, welcome to your leadership chat.
Thank you, Thelma. I appreciate you inviting me on. Glad to be
Yeah,
here.
yeah, it's great to be here. You reminded me it's Wyatt Earp, and so that's Tom Earp, and I think I got it right.
Good, you did.
All right. So Tom, as we kick things off, share a little bit about who you are and what you do with those that are listening in.
Okay. All right. So how far back should I go?
I know I'm totally interested, but yeah, for the
Yeah.
sake of
Well,
time.
I'll just share my educational background is in communication and particularly human behavior and organizational. Over the years, teaching a lot of public speaking, interpersonal communication, human relations skills, career planning, career development as my human behavior and organizational development focus became clearer.
Right.
And I have a real special passion for personal growth and development. So sometime back, I've been in the educational process, I guess the career for about 40 years now.
Yeah,
It's hard
yeah.
to believe. And so fewer of us, I'm realizing, as we shared earlier, remember who
Yeah,
Wyatt Earp is, but it's hard to believe I've been in the classroom for about that long.
right.
And about 25 of that 40-year period, I embarked on my entrepreneurial journey doing training, consulting, and some coaching. And that's just really given way to a greater focus on the personal development, professional development aspect of things, just helping people solve the people puzzle,
Yeah.
become more aware of themselves, how they think, how they behave, and just the personality aspects of things, but really more the personal preferences and styles, and using that information to help them build better teams and also become better leaders. First of all, how to lead yourself, and then how to better understand and lead others. That's
Right.
really given way to where I'm at now with my business, Next Gen Ability.
All right. Wow. We're going to learn a little bit more about that as we go along, but I'm taking copious notes because you and I are kindred spirits. And I love the coin phrase that you just said, helping people solve the people puzzle, if you will. And I'm a true believer that there is a science to us. And so, um, how we're made up and we have such untapped potential. And I get fired up when I am talking to someone like you that share that same kind of, desire to really help people personally and professionally be all they could be, and then take that gift and help others that they lead in the home and in the workplace be all they could be. So
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. It's
yeah,
and that's one of the challenges I've seen with leadership training and development is they focus on that individual,
yeah,
and there's a disconnect then for how they cross apply that to different contexts, different people, different
right,
situations, and so yeah, it's not just first learning to understand myself
right,
and then learning how to understand others.
yeah, yeah.
A definition of an effective leader is someone who is comfortable in their own skin and also comfortable in getting under the skin of others.
Whoa, that's a truth bomb right there. I mean, woo, we haven't even started, and you look at you already. So, oh my
So,
gosh, that's right. Comfortable in your skin, and then comfortable getting under, someone else's skin. And you said it so much better, but man, that's a truth bomb. And it's so true. We get so focused, and I've been guilty of it, and I'm sure most leaders are, because you have such high responsibilities in whatever work setting and industry you're in. You got these weight of the world on your shoulders, and a lot of deadlines. And so a lot of priorities, and you got to get things done. And sometimes we just kind of move past, hey, I've got to pause and, put my own oxygen mask on first and take care of me and learn and grow and develop, but then be able to pour that out and get under the skin of others to help them do the same.
Yeah, to help them manage their expectations.
Yeah,
And you can't do that without understanding what their needs are. And
right.
you've got the individual needs, and then you've got the group dynamic that occurs when you put all those people in the
Yeah.
same, petri dish, and things start happening and growing and developing.
Right,
It's sort of domino effect.
right,
So
right,
but it's maintaining yourself in the process, not taking things personally,
right.
understanding that
Yep.
people are just being people.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. Well, okay, so we know a little bit about you, educational, not only a student of education, but also a teacher of the education industry and impacting lives within the environment of a college, but also in your own entrepreneurship venture that you're taking on as well. So what I love to do is kick into the first question on this whole valuable leader journey that we're on. And so, could you share who is a valuable leader in Tom's life, and why would you say that about that person? Kind of give us a little story or context.
Yeah, it's sort of an odd story, I guess,
It's
in
okay.
some
I
respects.
like odd stuff.
But he, he was the dean of students when I was in my freshman and sophomore year at a college down near you. It's the Florida College there in Temple Terrace.
Yeah.
It's just a very small liberal arts college, and his name is Harry E. Payne, but he's known as Buddy.
Okay.
And
Buddy.
Buddy, I had some encounters with Buddy when he was dean of students and I was a student, only a couple times in his official capacity, where
Sure.
he's enforcing student policies and so forth. But upon upon completion of my graduate degree, Buddy is also a minister, pastor, and so I our mindset sort of converged, and he and five other guys did a 3 week tour through Eastern Europe after the wall came down in 1989, I believe it was, if I can remember that far back.
Yeah. Yeah.
We spent 3 weeks together and
Oh,
got to really got to be really close to each other in that three,
hmm.
3 week period.
Sure.
7 of us crammed in one band, but he shortly thereafter that trip became the academic dean and vice president of academic affairs. And a year later, he reached out to me to come and teach at the
Right.
college. And I turned him down 3 times, but he was persistent.
All right.
So the final call, I finally said, okay, let's talk. And so we did. And short story is I went to teach there.
Yeah.
And I'm quite a driven, competitive individual. And I came in that teaching capacity to teach public speaking and the other communication courses. But the primary role was director of forensics. So for the real world, that director of
Right.
speech and development. We called it forensics for
Right.
reasons that we don't have time for here. But in that capacity, I really built my program. I had a real belief in building something, not just coaching the advancement, but I built and coached the people
Right.
individually, personally as well. And Buddy got me. He's one of the few people that really understood me
Yeah.
and let me be me. There
Wow.
were some moments that he would help massage the process, but he
Right.
frustrated me because I'd go up and have these shoot from the hip moments with him because of my comfort and rapport with him and the trust.
Right.
And he'd listen and he'd ask questions and then say, okay, I need you to go and type this up and submit the proposal to me. And
Right.
my internal instinct and voice was saying, I just told you.
Told you. That's what I would say. Did you not get
just,
that? We should have recorded the conversation.
just, just do it. And but he understood the
Sure.
process and the
Right.
protocol, and that was one way of helping shape and form me to
Wow.
just take these crazy child brainstorm moments and
Sure.
really bring them into focus so that someone outside that conversation
Right.
could also understand it. But again, to give you a real deeper insight to our relationship, there was a moment where something happened with one of the policies at the school that was going to have an adverse effect on my program
Sure.
unintentionally. It's one of those things that you
Yep.
make a policy and you don't realize where they're going
Yep.
to
The
go
ripple
out.
effect. Hmm.
Yeah, and so I reached out to my wife first to blow off some steam, and
God bless her soul.
oh yeah, that's the story. I make friends easily. She helps me keep them.
Oh, I love
The
that one. Oh, that's so good.
and I told her after I got off the phone with her, I was going to go and talk to Buddy and
Sure.
express myself. And so, unbeknownst to me at the time, it was quite some time later. After I hung up, she called Buddy.
Right, right. Oh,
He said,
wow. Wow.
he said, Tommy's on his way up to see you. He's really upset.
Wow.
Just let him talk.
Right, right. Just listen. Yeah.
And I didn't come in all bombastic, just
Right.
explosive. I I just was very direct, but he did. He just listened.
Yeah.
At
Love that.
every point, every stage of my growth there over that 10-year period,
Yeah.
from the hiring onboarding process even, he
Right.
was he was always in my corner, and he
Wow.
just listened, not just sympathetically but empathetically, and some of the things that I was really not just personally complaining about, but just sharing. Here's my experience. This is how we can help with the hiring and onboarding process that would be uh, simpler, facilitate the
Yeah.
process, make sure we
Sure.
answer these questions before they're asked because it's cost me some money kind of thing. But also just talking about some of the student perspectives. And
Sure.
he really not only listened, but he acted on those things
Oh,
over the
that's
course of
big.
time.
Yeah.
And he drove me. There was one moment. I'm telling too many tales out of school on Tommy, but there was one moment he had invited me to a Rotary Club luncheon
Mm-hmm.
and to tell the club about what we were doing with our speech and debate,
Mm-hmm.
to allow one of my students actually to make a presentation performance. And when we got in the car, Buddy said, Joyce, his assistant, says you didn't submit a budget request.
Oh,
And I said, no, I didn't. He said, well, why not? I said, well, I really do my due diligence when I prepare a budget. I go back to square one
right.
and I create my vision for the year strategically. And then I just really incrementally break it down. And it seems for the last 3 years, you just simply copied my previous budget request. And as a result, so I just decided, what's the point?
Oh,
I mean, again, with all respect that
right,
he is
right.
due,
Yeah,
but he just looked at me and said, give me your budget request.
yeah,
So I did. And he didn't encourage bad behavior, but
right. Yeah,
he met my expectation. And
yeah,
I, and he invited me to actually kind of share the method of my madness. Why are we starting to travel to other
yeah,
schools outside of Florida? Because the previous
hmm hmm
generation
yeah.
of coaches that just
Wow.
simply travel to all the different community colleges and universities there in Florida. And Florida has a plethora
Yep.
of small colleges that we could compete with, but from an educational value, my students weren't going to grow. They were seeing the same events and performers week after
Sure.
week, or the same judges judging
Right.
them week after
Yep.
week. So we began to expand our our vision, expand our program, and it wasn't just to increase our competitive level, but the education of my students.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I love what you said. You said a couple of really cool things about Buddy, I'm sure. But you did emphasize the fact that he listened to you. And I love the line you used that he was in my corner,
Yeah,
because not only did he just listen to you in a very sympathetic and empathetic way, but then you said he acted on it. And sometimes, we say, well, to be a good a leader, you got to be a effective listener, and it kind of stops with, well, just listen to your employees or listen to your team members or listen to other leaders. But in even listening to your customers or members, if you're in the association world, but it really is taking it another step. Like, what you're talking about with Buddy, not only did he hear you, but he understood what you were saying, and that's the gap in listening. It's, do you hear me? Yes. But do you understand? And then was able to take some of that understanding and apply it with action. That to me is hands down. And I love the other way that you phrased what Buddy did. And I can actually see it and see the story coming together in my own mind. One, because I know the college you're talking about in in Temple Terrace, Florida College. It's a small little college, but it's actually growing. And I think the
yeah,
Reverend Billy Graham actually studied there back in the
yeah,
day. And I lived probably about no more than 3 miles in on Temple Terrace, where that college was. So used to pass the golf course and that
yeah, yeah,
regularly for several years. But I also could see where you were saying, that Buddy invited me. Um, that's so huge. And I know you're referring to back in the day because it was a part of how you are molded and shaped into the
yeah,
leader you are. But even back then, Buddy represented a valuable leader that had an inclusive mindset that, you know, invited you to come along. And people want to be asked. They
yeah,
want you to value them and their time and their talents and gifts enough to invite them to come along on the journey.
yeah.
And you still had to get your budget done, but he invited you to come along. So
But
I love
now we
that. That's,
understood. Now we
yeah.
understood.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you really drilled home why he's such a valuable leader, besides all of the credentials and success and just growth of himself. I know you kind of minimized yourself there for a second, but I would say that Buddy would say that there is so much untapped potential in Tom, and you just needed somebody to believe in you. And we all need someone to believe in us. And I think that's what valuable leaders do. There's good leaders, they kind of, get the job done. There's great leaders that get the job done, help people to get the job done, and the organization is successful. But then I truly believe there are valuable leaders that not only do you get the job done, and the organization grows, but your people grow in the process, which they are the ones that help you grow the organization. So, yeah, but you and I could go down that road. I know it.
Yeah. Well, just on that point, real quick, is Tommy didn't lack confidence,
Ah,
but he helped shape my confidence,
yeah.
and,
Oh,
and taking me from what Tommy is gifted at is just have a conversation, shoot from the hip, and just kind of
right.
spitball some ideas and just come up with a solution. Go back and do what's uncomfortable
Mm,
and create a logical process.
yeah,
That
I love that.
that is, I never thought about it that way before, but that was, a very defining moment for me as we
Hmm.
were talking about
Yeah,
that. And it helped shape that vision. And despite it frustrating me, it's what Tom needed to discipline me,
yeah.
to bring me into focus with that confidence. So I'm not just some
Mm,
dynamic energy ball out there, but fruitful.
yeah. So now, so I mean, Buddy has made such a lasting impact in your life. So my next question would be about how do you, I know you teach and I know you also coach in your own business and focus on helping the development of people. So this may or may not be an easy question. Just depends. Because I would love to know, Buddy set a really high standard here. How does Tom pay it forward? How do you impact others so that they could see the valuable leader in them?
I think a lot of it, and it wasn't the way I taught public speaking the first time around because
Yeah.
um, I was trained to teach competence, and from their competence they would grow confidence, and from their confidence they would grow comfort. People don't really work that way. It did take me real long in the classroom teaching public speaking where everyone, for the most part, was anxious.
Yeah.
Whether it was just a complete outright fear of the public speaking aspect or just very hesitant process. So I quickly flipped the script on my approach to that and helping people learn to feel comfortable
Right.
in an uncomfortable situation. And as their comfort began to grow, their confidence and then their competence would grow. And that's something that I instill in pretty much in every class I teach because there's a lot of self-awareness and self-discovery
Yeah.
that one needs to make with communication. So I have somewhat of an advantage teaching communication uh, topics that already require you to connect with others or connect with yourself. And so I think over the years, whether it's in student advising,
Yeah.
just really helping them understand themselves better,
Hmm.
whether it's helping them choose a major. And, sometimes, some of us go off to college to be engineers and we meet a Dr. Goodall in our life and he helped change our mind. And
Right. Right.
calculus, by the way,
Mm.
2 weeks. That's
Wow.
my name. But it's really helping them understand why they're doing what they're doing and making sure that that why is aligned with their who.
Hmm.
And I made some terrible mistakes, based on my GPA my first year,
Mm.
overloading myself because of my confidence. I took 18, 19 hours and 21 hours my first 2 semesters, and I, a little less than a 3.0 that first year. But it really, despite being some regretful decisions, I don't really regret it because it helped me do a lot more of that internal introspection of
Right.
who it is that I
Right.
am. And
Hmm.
so just really taking those lessons to students
Oh,
and
I
that
love it.
process.
Yeah.
And that's become, whether it's in the classroom or advising or even in the workplace, coaching one on
Right.
one,
Hmm.
it's really, it all starts there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And connecting that with Buddy really helped me understand myself
Yeah.
in
No, exactly. I
a
mean,
roundabout way.
once you do, yeah, once you really understand yourself and what you know, your journey and how you've grown, it helps you and how you continue to grow. It helps you with others to be able to be a guide, to be able to be the coach or the mentor or just to be the friend. Um,
Right.
we all learn from that. I love the concept though of flipping the script. You know, I truly believe in anything in life that you know that people need to first know you, then like you, and then they trust you, and that kind of progression. And in this case, people need to get comfortable first, right? They
Mhm.
need to be comfortable, make it safe for
Yeah.
them to be uncomfortable, and because the greatest thing we struggle with is fear, and so you've got to get over that to then build that sense of competence around whatever it is you're doing, and then get a level of confidence as you continue to do that and learn how to do it well. I could see that you would talk about your students, and not just in the education standpoint when I say students, but in the
Mhm.
coaching profession as well. So classroom and in the workplace. I could see that. So, Tom, tell us, this is your question. You've already dropped a couple of big bombs, but my third question is around what would be one big takeaway that you would say, if I had to give the listeners anything here on how they could become better leaders, valuable leaders in their personal and professional life, what would be that one big takeaway?
I think it comes down to self. So I think being true to
Yeah.
yourself and who you are. Of
Hmm.
course, that for many of us, that's a journey of self-discovery, self-awareness. And there are some
Hmm.
things we can do to get there quicker. But I
Right.
think that being true to yourself and but mention the students in the classroom, so many of them are majors that I know that they just don't feel it as strongly as
Hmm.
they should, but it's more externally. This is where the market's going. These jobs
Right.
are paid
Right.
well.
This is what my parents want for me, or yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
and I've taught overseas, and there are cultures that are very much more tribal. And when they had to choose a career track for their major, whether it was going to be accounting, finance, or HR in the business
Right.
perspective, they would look around the room and
Wow.
see what the class leader was
Wow.
doing. They just sort of move in packs.
Yeah.
We have much more of an individualized perspective today, but still family sometimes
Hmm.
has a
Yeah.
huge impact on the decision making. But I think even more broadly, just that being true to yourself. You and I had shared in previous conversations about
Yeah.
my perspective on identity theft
Right.
and how we have lost our sense of identity because we've lost ourselves in what we call our career, but it's really more of a job. It's not
Right.
a true life calling for us. And it
Right.
doesn't mean you have to do something that you're completely just liberated over, passionate about,
Yeah.
but you're doing it for reasons that do excite you,
Hmm.
that are connected to some part of yourself, some part of life goal
Right.
and achievement. So for me, it's not this is the life I live, this is the career I go to,
Right.
because at our age, we realize they impact each other.
Exactly.
You, you
Yeah.
me picking up the phone and calling my wife when something bad at work.
Hmm.
Well, a lot of us do that, maybe not as direct as I
Yeah.
did, but then we take our home environment and the problems, challenges there, they affect our work day. So
Sure.
seeing yourself as that singular identity and
Yeah.
understanding who that is and being true to that,
Mm.
whether it's at life, home, or career,
Right.
workplace, and being, this word gets tossed around quite a bit these days, but being authentic
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
in the real true sense, not the advertised version of it,
Right.
but
Right.
being authentic self. And that goes back to being comfortable in your own skin.
Skin, that's right. That's like so
So,
true. I love that. And I've shared it on a couple of other sessions, but I have a quote that hangs in the office here, and it says, "Who were you before the world told you who you should be?" And it speaks to exactly what you're saying in that we need to get comfortable in our own skin and realize that your career, your work, and your home is intertwined. There's not this balance that people seek or they think about. It's literally not work or life balance. It's, a work or life integration that's going on. And how do you have that in a healthy way? How do you put respective boundaries in all spaces so that you can have that place where you're authentically yourself. You don't put a mask on when you go into the office and you go home and
right.
then you're, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you and I know that from assessments when you look at different types of behavioral assessments, human relations, communications assessments. People look one way at work, that graph, one way in the public, which is different, and then one way which is truly who they are, their private life and their self. But that what a truth bomb. Just be true to yourself. And that's a huge takeaway. Wow.
It's exhausting not to. Sure, you can compartmentalize
Right.
those different sectors, but it's exhausting.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I think the rise in anxiety
Yeah.
over the last few
Hmm.
years, decade or so,
Yeah.
is somewhat a direct result of that
Absolutely.
social media version of ourselves and our internal conversations with ourselves. And so yeah, it's just exhausting. I love your word bomb is integration. I've come to
Mm.
believe there's no such thing as balance.
No, if you don't, you don't balance anything.
Yeah.
You know, that's I think, a myth. And what has happened in the last several years due to this widespread, pandemic across the world is that we've realized we've got more integration. And so you get up and, you go from your bedroom, some of us, and you go to your home office, a little corner room that you've got set aside and you makeshift it to work. Or some of us do still get in a vehicle and go through the stress of traffic and get into, and maybe there's both opportunities there. But it definitely has proven the greater integration that's happening in our lives versus are things in balance. It's more things are in integration. Yeah.
Mhm.
I love it.
Fits.
So Tom, I can talk to you forever, but I want to respect your time and that of our listeners. So tell the listeners, how can they learn more about you and follow you or stay up to date on what's going on with you? And then, yeah, how best to get closer to Tom and his knowledge.
Okay. The simplest, most succinct way is on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Just find me as Thomas
Hmm.
Earp, EARP,
Yep.
just like Wyatt. And
Right.
there I post fairly regularly, not always consistently daily, but you'll see some of my thought processes and reflections there, but also the profile that
Okay.
will give you more insight to me and what I do.
Yeah, no, great. We will go ahead and put that in the actual link here in the show notes so that folks can connect with you on LinkedIn or follow you. Um, and I just wanted to extend a really personal thank you so much for the time you have taken before too, because our other conversations have just been a
Yeah, yeah.
joy. You are such a kindred spirit. Many of the things that you have said here and shared and your journey, while we've been in different roads to get to the same destination, we have very
Mhm.
similar types of perspectives and a heart for the personal and professional growth of ourselves and others. So thank you,
Excellent.
Tom.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity, and it's been a joy.
Hey, thanks so much for watching another episode of Your Leadership Chat. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button here and tap that bell icon so that you never miss another episode. I hope too that you'll give us a thumbs up on the video for a like. And then if you feel led, please share the video with those who need to see it. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time on Your Leadership Chat. Bye for now.